what I might do is I'll just lead it off with a question to each of our panellists, because they are all very busy individuals, and I want to ask them, why is it that despite all the other demands on your time, you choose to spend a considerable amount of time on promoting gender equality in Australia? And if I can start at this end of the panel with Cassandra.
As much as those who know me know that I get infuriated with reducing women to a business case, I find it somewhat insulting. At the end of the day, the business case is such that there is no single lever that we can pull in the world than making it equal, making it fair, making it just, whatever word you want to put there. If we embrace that, this is good for all of us. There is nothing else that we have yet to identified that can achieve the same economic prosperity. So aside from all the things that I stand for, which is, justice and fairness, I sit here before you because I want to see a wonderful future for all of us. And this is all that, frankly, I can figure out that I can do. I can try so many other things that I believe in, but this is the single biggest lever. So I'm sitting here trying really hard on behalf of men and women.
Good, thanks, Cassandra. And Di?
I had nearly 20 years in the IT industry, mainly at Apple. I am very aware of what it was like to be a woman in IT from the early 80s and 90s. And when I stepped down from managing director of Apple after a little run-in with breast cancer, I decided that what I wanted to do was devote more of my time to the success of women. I raised 2 sons. I have 2 wonderful daughter-in-laws, and they made me very aware. I was at that stage when they were about 22, 23, and they described some of the things that were happening to them in the workplace. And I couldn't believe it was still happening. And as fate would have it, I now have 6 grandchildren, 5 of whom are girls. I cannot leave this role until I feel comfortable that we have made a change and that these young girls will have every opportunity to succeed in what they choose to do.
Thanks, Di.
In my case, and I certainly endorse, Di, your comments and yours, Cassandra, also, anyone that has a daughter and a son, it's just infuriating to think that one of those would have less opportunity than the other. And in 90% of the cases, it would be that the daughter would have less opportunity, which is appalling. And so while I understand the business case and the moral issue, I just, as a believer in equality of opportunity, just can't sit by with the, opportunities that I've had to just let that pass. So that's why I'm committed. And I must say, though, the more I get involved in this issue and the more I learn from Liz and the Human Rights Commission and working with other male champions of change and other inspiring women, is I'm actually getting angrier about it, not more calm. And as I said to Devika, look, I hope this isn't going to be just a polite conversation amongst the converted, because I won't embarrass you, but I will actually be controversial. Because unless, first lesson in change management is if you're not taking the hits, you're not over the target. And if you're not feeling uncomfortable, then nothing's changing. So that's it. It's a very personal thing for me. And like Di, I don't want to let the opportunity pass.
Thanks, Dev. Kate? Sorry.
Yeah, Liz and Cassandra can confirm this when we caught up and had a chat about it. I've been a little bit reluctant to get involved, if I'm being honest here. At first, I've only had this role as managing director for 2 years. My personal experience has been very positive, right? So I was living in a little bit of a bubble, it seems. And, when I was, got this MD role, suddenly I got invited to speak at a lot of events like this. And it got up my nose a little bit, to be honest, because I thought, I'm only being invited to speak at women's events. Why can't I just be invited to speak at business events? Like, it felt like discrimination or sexism in a sense, because all they could see is, oh, she's a woman leading. Okay, but then I kind of, threw the lens on and, like Andrew was saying, got a little bit more up to speed with what was really going on, because I knew my own business really well, and I was so focused on the world of Intel and hadn't really expanded my thinking beyond my own little bubble, and have come to realise that indeed we do still have a monumental issue. So it's now actually something that's really easy to give my time up for. But I do discriminate, and the only discrimination I have is there has to be men in the audience if I'm going to speak. And, as a few people have commented, we've done a good job at that tonight. So that was my first question to Cassandra when we caught up. If there are going to be men there, I'll come along. So that's just a little insight into the weird and wonderful mind of Kate Burley.
Thanks, Kate. And Gordon?
So, unlike Andrew, and for the first time in my life, I can't be controversial tonight because I've got my minders here from Origin who've told me that
Champagne outside.
I've got to be polite. I absolutely agree with the business case that Cassandra mentioned. I absolutely agree with the moral case. I absolutely agree, because I have a daughter, that I don't want her to face the same discrimination that my wife faced. But beyond that, the reason why I got involved is because our rate of change or our rate of progress was absolutely glacial. There was a lot of talk and not a lot of progress. And the hypothesis that we came up with was the reason there was little or no progress was because it was women talking to women. And that's fantastic. But unfortunately, the men invented the system, the men run the system, and the men have no incentive to change the system. And so what we decided was that if the women talk to the men, they will just be accused of being whinging harpies. And unless the men talk to the men, we are actually not going to get sufficient progress. And so I put my hand up to say, I'm happy to go along and shame my fellow directors by calling them out.